Hey man, it's Rashawn, the dude dad, coming to you with the DeadRong Podcast and some unsolicited sports talk. There's a lot of activity going on this weekend, man. I'm going to start off with the fight that happened at AT&T Stadium, man. The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight and the roster that they had going on. Specifically, I want to talk about the fight of Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serranos. Man, they both went out there and put on a good show. They both look good. I felt like Amanda Serranos, she was robbed. And the reason why I say that is because anyone that was watching saw that she was putting on more show, more pressure on Katie Taylor. I don't want to say that Katie Taylor was fighting dirty, but she did catch her with a headbutt to the eye that opened her up in the fifth round. And although it looked like a gash where if that was my fighter, I would have called the fight. They asked her, was she good? And the warrior that she is, she said, I'm going to keep going. And she did keep going. And she didn't only keep going, but she put on a good fight and she kept the pressure on Katie Taylor the entire fight, which leads me to wonder, how the heck did they say Katie Taylor won? All she was doing was leading in with her head. And even after she put the gash on Amanda Serrano's head, she hit her again in the same exact eye with the headbutt over and over. And Serranos wasn't crying. Amanda Serranos kept on coming, foot on the gas, swinging, jabbing, going to the body, going upstairs. And honestly, I think out of the 10 rounds that they had, 9 of those went to Amanda Serranos. She looked fresh the entire fight. And I don't know if it's because of the 2-minute rounds, which actually I believe that maybe the entire boxing world should institute, because honestly, after 2 minutes of each round, the fighters still looked fresh. They looked fresh and they were coming out fresh every single round. It was amazing. And like I said, I wish they would institute that within boxing for men and women. But back to the fight, man. I couldn't believe when they gave the judges scorecard and they said that it was 95-94. I'm automatically thinking it was Amanda Serrano. She landed 107 more punches than Katie Taylor. And some way, somehow, somebody in AT&T Stadium thought that she won. I believe it was a bad decision, and it leads me to believe that within the boxing world, they should institute a group that is bigger than 3 judges, or kind of like a check and balances to make sure that the judges that were supposed to judge the fight, that they are being overlooked or overseen by another set of judges to make sure that it's congruent and that it isn't fixed, quote unquote, or something was wrong or somebody just went the wrong way. Because I don't think there's anyone that was in AT&T Stadium, the people that were calling it live on Netflix, said that Katie Taylor won. It was a highway robbery. That's all I could say. It looked like a robbery. I see the eye test said that Amanda Serranos won the fight, and that's that. You know, I hope that they have another fight, and that whoever judges it, they judge it correctly, because they dropped the ball on that specific fight. Now we're going to talk about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, man. And listen, for whatever you may think about Jake Paul, one thing that I can say personally and attest to from the money that's being made with the people that are on the undercard and the people that he is fighting on those fight cards is, 1, they are getting paid. 2, they are having eyes put on them and their craft. So even if they're not necessarily the main event or they are the co-main event, so many people are tuned in. And I don't know if it's because of the hate for Jake Paul, or, you know, he's one of those troll masters where people just want to see him lose or see him get punched in the face. It didn't happen Friday night, because he was fighting a 60-year-old Mike Tyson who looked fresh for all of 20 seconds in the first round, and he looked like he had 5 seconds out of each round after that. So I don't know what anyone thought. I mean, I was hoping that I could see Iron Mike Tyson of old, but man, he just looked old, and he didn't look like Iron Mike Tyson. He was looking more like aluminum foil Mike Tyson. But shout out to him. He's in better shape than me. He was able to fight that young man for 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds. And I don't know if anyone knows how it is when you're fighting, but 2 minutes in a fight feels like 10 minutes in the real world. So shout out to Mike Tyson and him doing a great job. He's in a magnificent shape. But boxing is one of those sports where it's a young man sport. And the young man was able to use the ring, run away. And I don't want to say run away, but keep his distance. He was bouncing around, using the ring, and he was kind of catching Mike Tyson. And it almost looked like he was holding back from fighting Mike Tyson. I don't think he wanted to be that person that knocked out the 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Now, I mean, he likes to troll people, but I don't think he wants to be hated by the community at large. So, yeah, that was that. But how about last night? For anyone that was tuned in to the UFC 309, there were a lot of good bouts, but the real bout that mattered was Jon Bones Jones versus Stipe Miocic. And if anyone knows Jon Bones Jones, man, he is a master at his craft. He has deadly elbows. He can kick you, leg kicks, body kicks, knee kicks, man. He's just a master or a jack of all trades. And it was on display last night. It was on display. It was a mastery class. And from the first round, he started out with some body kicks that just seemed to stun Stipe Miocic. And once he took him down and he was landing some clean left elbows to Miocic's forehead, it was pretty much in the books by then. And it looked good in the second round, and credit to Stipe, he did catch Jon Bones Jones with some good clean hits, but it looked like Jones was able to just kind of roll with the punches, and when he was trying to catch it with the combos or began to catch him with combos, he kind of just gave himself some distance, gathered himself, got back into his stance, and would attack Stipe, and ultimately he caught him with like a liver kick to the ribs. And Stipe is a big guy. He's about 240 pounds solid, so he's not a sloppy heavyweight. He's ripped. He's got abs. You can see his serratus muscles over his ribs. Like, he's jacked. But that kick to his ribs put him down, and that's all she wrote. Jon Bones Jones on top of you for a round. After he caught you with a liver kick, yeah, it was over 15 seconds after that, man. And when they questioned him about who would he fight, and I'm sure everybody wants to know, who is Jon Bones Jones going to fight? Is he going to fight Tom Aspinall, or is he going to fight Alex Pereira? The world wants him to see him fight Tom Aspinall, and I'm with you on that. I want to see the best fight the best in whatever combat sport that there is, whether it's boxing, men's boxing, women's boxing, MMA, whatever, jiu-jitsu. I want to see the best be the best, because you got to beat the best to be the best. I don't want people pecking at who they think is a good fight for them or that they could get money. And ultimately, yes, it's about making money. So gotta make your money, man. And I'm all for that for all athletes across all sports. But truth be told, we want to see the best fight the best. And so I was watching an interview with Jon Bones Jones, and he was saying that he won. Everybody wants to see him lose. This is what he's saying. These are not my direct quotes. Everybody wants to see him lose. This guy is 9 years younger than him and 30 pounds heavier than him. And I don't know if you ever seen Tom Aspinall fight, man. He can rumble. He got some good ground and pound, and he's got power behind his punch. So I think Jon Bones Jones could be a good fight for him. I don't know who would win. I'm going to be honest with you. This guy is huge. But Jon Bones Jones is a proven champion. He says that the fight that he really wants is him versus Alex Pereira. And I don't know if you've been living under a rock or something, but Alex Pereira has been active in the last 2 years. He's got 15 fights in 2 years in the UFC, and has just been crumbling people, man, knocking them out. First round, second round, 1.5 rounds, 90 seconds, 47 seconds. So me personally, as a fan, I would rather see Pereira versus Jon Bones Jones, the deadly guy versus the deadly guy. I believe that Tom Aspinall deserves a chance to fight for the heavyweight belt. But I also want to see the most dangerous man versus the most dangerous man. And that right now is Alex Pereira versus Jon Bones Jones. So I hope that Dana White can make it happen. I don't know who's going to agree to what terms, what the money's got to be, but I hope that they make it happen. And talking about make it happen, the Buffalo Bills finally made it happen and beat the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. I always think that they're cheating for them, but I lost to them, meaning the San Francisco 49ers, up 10 going into two fourth quarters and 2 different Super Bowls. So maybe I'm a little biased, but Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, but Josh Allen always does a good against the Kansas City Chiefs. So right here, right now, it is good for them and for their psyche, but at the same time, you got to win when it matters and when it counts. Last year, they had him at the crib, meaning Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and they didn't get the job done. They didn't beat them. The Kansas City Chiefs beat them at home, meaning the Buffalo Bills. So every time it's in the regular season, the Buffalo Bills beat them. That's good for your psyche, but at the same time, in order to beat the champs, you're going to have to knock them out when it matters. And when it matters is in the end of December and January going into February. And so, I'm just glad that the Chiefs lost. I'm just glad to see the Chiefs lost. I'm sorry. I'm hating. I don't even care. I don't care who get mad about. I don't care. They lost. That's that. But, another team that lost is those San Francisco 49ers, because for some reason my squad is the worst squad on defense when it comes to the last 2 minutes of every NFL football game that they play. They're actually the second worst. There's only one team that's worse than them in the last 2 minutes on defense, and it's the Cincinnati Bengals. We were up, had the ball, got the stop on 4th and inches, got like 3 minutes to go, and instead of running the ball, and you take your pick, Christian McCaffrey, Isaac Guerrero, Jordan Mason, run the ball, anything to keep the time rolling, make them burn their timeout so they don't have it on the back end just in case they do get the rock back. But what happens? He runs the ball on first down. I guess he didn't like that he didn't get enough yards, meaning Kyle Shanahan, and so second down, it was a good play call, but it wasn't executed right. And what happens? He overthrows Deebo Samuel a little behind him and a little too high, stops the clock, and they don't have to use a timeout. And now it's freaking 2nd and 9. And then what happens the very next play? They throw the ball again. They do complete the pass. It takes a couple seconds off of the clock, but what happens? You leave too much time. You're up 17-13, and I always preach, if you let a bad team hang around, you are setting yourself up to lose. And what happened to San Francisco 49ers? They lose 20-17 to the Sea Chickens. The freaking Seahawks stink. They tied up with us, so I guess we stink. You know who we look like? I feel like we look like the Philadelphia Eagles of last year. And I'm sorry, Philadelphia Eagles fans, if you feel like that's shady. But truth is, even though the Eagles were 10-1 last year, they weren't good-looking wins. They didn't look dominant. We have been the team, the creme de la creme, the team to beat in the NFC for the last 4 or 5 years. We just didn't get the job done and win the Super Bowl. But other than that, we've been the team to win or been the team to beat. And we've been dominating people, especially on the defensive side. But right now, we're not. They get rid of Steve Wilkes, which in my opinion, they shouldn't have done, because truth be told, in the Super Bowl, the one gleaming light that we got out of that was that the defense was balling. They held the Kansas City Chiefs to 17 points in regulation. If you hold anybody to 17 points in regulation, truth be told, you're supposed to beat them, especially the Kansas City Chiefs who could put up 47 points on you like it's nothing. But what happens? They get rid of him and bring in, I don't even know what, Nick Sorensen or something like that. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? You might as well put me in there because he's doing as good a job as me. You have all of these weapons, all of these guys, all of these athletic beasts out there, and you can't string together some stops to end the game. It's pathetic. They should fire whoever the defensive coordinator is today, Nick Sorensen, whatever his name is, and bring Bill Belichick in. I'll take Bill Belichick, because one thing about Belichick, what he's going to do is he's going to study whoever you're playing. He's going to bring out their weaknesses, and he is going to exploit them. He's done it for years and years. Even before he was the head coach in New England, he did it for multiple teams. That's that. I'm sorry. It gets me worked up because we are supposed to be a better team than we're exemplifying and what we see on a week-to-week basis. And I feel like Kyle Shanahan is doing a disservice to all of the 49ers fans because he's getting cute, and instead of doing what works, run the ball, pass when it's necessary, run the play action, things of that nature, it's like he fell in love with the fact that Brock Purdy can actually make a throw here and there. But this year, Brock Purdy hasn't really been executing at the level that he did in the year and a half prior to, or the season and a half prior to. And he's not leading people or throwing them open. He's throwing behind them, and it's causing a lot of drops in places that are important, and thus we have 5 losses now. So that's that, man. I'm going to run a few scores down to y'all. Miami beats the Las Vegas Raiders. Green Bay wins at the last second. They win 20-19 against the Chicago Bears. They can't get out their own way. Minnesota squeaks by the Tennessee Titans 23-13. Indianapolis Colts, beat the New York Jets 28-27, man. The New York Jets are a dumpster fire. I said that they should have traded away everybody. They won that game against Houston and thought they had a chance. And as you can see, they don't. The Rams beat the New England Patriots. Detroit beat the crap out of Jacksonville 52-6. Doug Peterson, man. I don't even know. That whole place is terrible. I don't know what's going on down there. I don't think it's Doug Peterson's fault. I don't know whose fault it is. I just know that they are a professional sports team who plays like an AAU team. I don't know what you got to do to get that right, but you got to do something. And again, the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I love these divisional games, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. They're always hard fought, no matter if they're in Baltimore or if they're in Pittsburgh. Baltimore Ravens, I don't know. Maybe it's time to put a SOS up. I don't know what's going on with these guys, man. These defenses are catching up to them, and they are making them pay, and they're holding them under 20 points on the regular now. Baltimore, what's going on? Lamar Jackson can only do but what he can do. Justin Tuck, I don't know what happened, man. Their kicker. Their place kicker used to be money for like the last 12, 13 years. And in the last 3 or 4 games, he has been everything but that. I don't know if there's some type of virus going around between the place kickers. And there's been a lot of field goals missed in the last 3 weeks in the NFL. It's pathetic. You got one job to do. Kick the ball between the uprights. That's all you got to do. And 99% of the time, you are sitting on the bench. You got one thing to do. You need to be perfect at it. These field goal kickers are starting to be an abomination, man. They need to get it right, man. And speaking of abominations, how about the Philadelphia 76ers? They look like trash. They are trash. You had Paul George, Joel Embiid. You was at full strength minus Tyrese Maxey, and you lost to the Orlando Magic without Paolo Banchero. Think about that. Their guy is Paolo Banchero, and they still lost. The 76ers, they didn't even crack 90. 86-98 to the Orlando Magic. You was letting Jalen Suggs cook y'all. That's crazy to me. And for Mr. Embiid, Joel, the Troel Embiid, talking all that stuff that you're doing for the city, you ain't did nothing. And it looks like this is just going to be a little bit more of what has been going on, even though you were gifted a contract for 3 years and $180 million. 3 years, damn near $200 million, and the team stinks. The logo needs to be the person in the wheelchair from the reserve parking sign, because that's what y'all going to be in the playoffs. Y'all look cooked. All of these guys and these veterans, I'm going to be honest, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I thought they were going to make a difference and they were going to look good coming off the bench. The only shining star is Jared McCain, and I don't even know how that's going to work when McCain and Maxey are on the court together, or if they can even be on the court together, because they're both small guards. So how does that work when you got these 6'9" guys on the regular that could put you on a pick and roll and cook you and just pick on y'all on a regular? I don't know, man. An abomination. Philadelphia 76ers, and at that, y'all trying to get a a new facility, a new stadium in the middle of Center City. Don't nobody want to invest money into that. For what? For what? Y'all may be a play-in team this year. It's a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke. And Daryl Morey, as you, the general manager and president of basketball operations or whatever, man, this is a joke. But I don't know what Josh Harris thought he was getting when you did the job that you did when you were in Houston. You were able to put together a couple of names that sounded sexy alongside James Harden, but ultimately you were there for about 12 years. You try to institute roster after roster after roster, and it never turned into the ultimate prize and an NBA championship. That's your resume, not being able to deliver. And then you come here, and I guess they were like, man, if we bring James Harden's guy here, we could possibly get James Harden and maybe we get a championship. And that was a trial and error. You didn't do anything, man. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. It's annoying. It's aggravating. It's a disservice to all the Philadelphia fans at large that this basketball team, I mean, at this point, we might as well just freaking sell a basketball team to like Jersey or Pittsburgh or Scranton or somebody else, because to be honest with you, there's nothing to look forward to when it comes to the NBA season when you're a Philadelphia fan, because the Sixers, man, they're a freaking joke. They are a joke at this point. Let me take a sip. They got me riled up, man. Get me right up. I'm sorry. Listen, man. I'm gonna. I don't know. I don't know how to bounce back, man. I'm really agitated about these San Francisco 49ers, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Sunday Night Football is the cinnamon raisin bagels. I mean, Cincinnati Bengals go against the LA Chargers. I got the Chargers, cause like I said, the Bengals got the worst 2-minute defense in the NFL, man. This is Rashawn again, the Dude Dad, coming to you with the DeadRong Podcast, Unsolicited Sports Talk, and feeling a little down and out because my team sucks big time. Oh yeah, appreciate y'all. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe.